Please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I used to think that silence was just peace, the absence of chaos. But I've since learned that silence can be loud, deafening even. Especially when it follows a lie. When the person you trust most in the world begins to carve out pieces of themselves they no longer want to share with you. My name is Jonathan. I was married to Tony Davis, charming, polished, the man everyone saw as the perfect husband and doting father. Our life looked picture perfect on the outside, a lovely home in the suburbs, a stable life, and our bright, observant 10-year-old son, Malik. But beneath that perfect frame was a crack. And that crack turned into a split on the very day Tony insisted we drive separately to his parents' 40th anniversary celebration. That morning, something felt off. It started with the way he avoided eye contact, fumbling with his cufflinks longer than necessary. He claimed he had to stop by the office on the way, just a quick errand, babe. I didn't argue. I didn't suspect a thing. But it wasn't until I was driving with Malik in the backseat, tapping away at a handheld video game, that he leaned forward and whispered something that turned my blood cold. Mum. Dad doesn't know I found this. He reached into his small backpack and pulled out something that shattered my world in one glance. And that's how the mask came off. It was a silver USB flash drive. Ordinary looking. Harmless, really. But my son held it like it was radioactive. Where did you get this, Malik? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm as I navigated the freeway. In Daddy's briefcase. Yesterday. He left it open when he went to shower. He paused, his big brown eyes searching mine from the rearview mirror. I thought it had a game on it. But it didn't. I glanced at the USB in his small hand, swallowing a hard lump that had lodged itself in my throat. What was on it? He hesitated. I plugged it into the tablet. There were emails. I couldn't understand all the words, but there were pictures. Of a house. And of you. My heart dropped. Pictures of me. He nodded. There were documents too. Stuff about lawyers. By now, I had pulled into the nearest gas station, heart racing, hands clammy on the wheel. I put the car in park and turned fully to face him. Malik, I whispered, can you show me? He nodded again, unzipping his bag and handing over the device like it was something precious, something dangerous. I took out my laptop from the trunk, the one I kept for work emergencies, and plugged the flash drive in. What I found made my hands shake. Emails. From Tony to a woman named Rose. Lawyers. Bank transactions. Photos of our home. Asset evaluations. And then the final dagger. Once I move the accounts, we're done. The lawyer will serve her the papers after my parents' party. She'll never see it coming. My ears rang. My breath hitched. I was staring at a digital blueprint of betrayal, cold, calculated betrayal. This wasn't a rough patch. This was an ambush in motion. He'd planned to blindside me, after smiling with me in family photos, after cutting cake with his parents and pretending we were one happy, united couple. My whole body stiffened. Rage rose up, hot and unfamiliar. But right then, something inside me switched. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to rewrite the ending of this story, on my terms. And so, I put the car back in drive, and changed the direction of everything that would follow. I hadn't slept the entire night after finding the papers. Instead, I lay still in our California king bed while Matthew snored peacefully beside me. My mind raced in loops. How long had he been planning this? Was it before or after our 20th anniversary? Did he look me in the eye over dinner while secretly moving against me? By 6 a.m., I had already called Michael, my longtime private investigator. If there was anyone who could uncover truths buried 6 feet deep, it was him. I gave him one directive. I need to know who is doing this for. There's always someone else. With men like Matthew, there's always a woman waiting in the shadows, promising adventure, youth, submission, or simply freedom from a wife who had outgrown playing dumb. While Michael dug through trash, texts, and travel logs, I played my part. I laughed at his jokes, cooked his favorite meals, even booked us a weekend spa getaway. If he was acting, then so would I. My war would be fought with silk gloves, until I needed to rip them off. 3 days later, Michael sent a video to my private phone. I watched it in the walk-in closet, the only place I could lock from the inside without raising suspicion. In the grainy footage, Matthew sat across a patio table from a woman. She was tall, young, barely 25. Her curls bounced as she laughed, eyes glittering with the smug confidence of someone who believed she had won. They kissed. He held her hand. She wore the necklace I'd once given his assistant for 5 years of loyalty. I guess loyalty was now a transferable perk. Michael added a note. Her name is Tatiana Grace. Recent grad. No job. Has no clue who she's playing with. The rage that coursed through me wasn't hot, it was icy. Controlled. Measured. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just knew, the game had changed. What Matthew didn't know was that I had already begun untying the knots in our financial arrangement. That $500 million he thought we shared. It was mine before the prenup expired. And I'd moved it into shell trusts in 6 different countries, one silent stroke at a time. By the time he files his paperwork, he'll be filing for more than a divorce. He'll be filing bankruptcy. But I wasn't done yet. That night, I asked, honey, do you think we need a vacation after the new year? Maybe something small, just us. He kissed my forehead and said, you always know what I need, baby. If he only knew. The next morning, I woke up to the scent of burnt toast and forced cheerfulness. Richard was in the kitchen, wearing that guilty little boy smile. A pathetic performance. I humored him, sipping coffee while he rambled on about weekend plans and romantic getaways he'd been meaning to schedule. Every word he spoke was a lie. But I didn't flinch. Because I already knew. While he was talking about a fake beach trip, I was already aware that he'd met with a divorce lawyer twice that week, using an alias, and had drafted paperwork claiming irreconcilable differences and emotional abandonment on my part. He planned to make me look mentally unstable, just to escape clean and rich. He didn't know I had full access to his burner phone records or that my forensic accountant had flagged the offshore transfer attempts he made in my name. He also didn't know I'd already sat down with my own legal team, twice as cutthroat and 10 times smarter. Every shell corporation he had set up, I had already redirected. Every asset he tried to conceal, I had already reclaimed. I even had video evidence of him with his mistress, his so-called business partner. I wasn't going to confront him, yet. I wanted him to think everything was fine. I wanted him to feel safe. Because that would make his fall even sweeter. A week later, Richard served me the divorce papers with faux regret in his eyes and trembling hands. I took them calmly. Of course, I said. I understand. That confused him. He was expecting a meltdown. He had no idea what was coming. The very next day, he walked into our bank, tried to access our joint account, and found it completely empty. Every single dollar had been legally moved to an irrevocable trust, in my name only. The properties. Sold or frozen. The luxury vehicles. Towed and reclaimed. The investment accounts he thought were his, now routed through a clause in our prenup he had signed without reading, ensuring only I had access after marital misconduct. He came home red-faced, panicking. "Where's the money, Olivia?" I looked him dead in the eye. "Gone. Like your integrity." He staggered. "You can't do this." "Oh, Richard," I laughed quietly. "I already did. The difference between you and me? You underestimated the woman who built your empire with you." I handed him a manila folder. Inside were all the receipts. The hidden emails, the offshore transfers, the affair logs, and the phone recordings. His knees buckled. He dropped into the chair like a puppet whose strings had been cut. "You thought you were divorcing me for my money. But you forgot," I leaned in. "The money was always mine." By the time his lawyer called to negotiate, it was too late. Everything was ironclad. And public. His reputation. Destroyed. His mistress. Gone the moment she realized he had no more access to the fortune she was lusting after. And me? I moved out of the mansion we shared, not in defeat, but in freedom. I bought a coastal property with sweeping ocean views, filled it with art, books, and silence. Peace became my wealth. And in that peace, I rediscovered myself. The version of me that didn't shrink for a man. The version that didn't beg to be chosen. 3 months later, I saw Richard in a tabloid, bloated, disheveled, clutching a half-empty bottle of scotch on a sidewalk after getting kicked out of a hotel suite he could no longer afford. The caption read, "Once respected businessman declared financially insolvent amidst scandal." I smiled. Sometimes revenge is loud. Other times, it's silent wealth, quiet dignity, and the unshakable truth that you walked away richer, in every way. Because when a man tries to bury a woman like me, he forgets. I'm not dirt. I'm the seed.